Yeah, that's what I've been talking about right here. No doubt.
Future Solutions, fencing outdoors. Clip of the day, man. Clip of the day, man. I'm Dave Got. I'm your host. From the East Coast, man. Burn your wrist and toast. Let's go. Hey, everybody, and thanks for tuning in. This is episode number 11 of the Future Solutions Fencing Outdoor Clip of the Day podcast. My name's Dave Gatto, and I'm your host. Jumping right into things, guys. In episode number 10, we had talked about writing a good ad and getting that out there. Now, we might have done that, and we have gotten an overwhelming response. We might have 30, 40, 50 applicants that we have to screen now, look at their resume, and bring them in to the interview process. And in this episode, guys, we're going to talk about the proper questions to ask those potential candidates and also red flags, things that we want to look out for. So the first thing is this could be a major time suck, guys. We do not want to spend countless hours interviewing people who weren't qualified from the get-go to even work for us. So first thing I do is I get a list of qualifying questions that I can handle over the phone or via email. Things that they have got to meet, requirements that they have got to meet. They need to have maybe, for example, a driver's license or be able to lift 100 pounds or work in a full-time capacity. So those are questions that we could get right out the way. And this way, if they answer no to some of those questions we need them to say yes to, we can save their time and we can save our time as well. Next thing that we want to do, we want to tell them to come in and fill out an application. We actually want people to take the incentive to come into the warehouse, check out the office, and actually sit in there and fill an application out. Now, this has always been a huge qualifier. I can't tell you guys how many times that we've had over-the-top people on the phone, incessantly telling us how grateful they were for the opportunity and that they'll see us tomorrow. Just for them not even to show up. So having them come in and them not showing up, that gets a lot of that riffraff right out of the way. So anyways, let's say we got past all that. They're in the office. They've filled out the application, and now they're sitting at the desk, right? First thing that I do is I run a criminal background. All I need is their name and their date of birth, and it's right there on my cell phone. So if they got a criminal record, it's going to pop up. And I always ask them, and I look at the application, if it says no criminal record, I said, so there's no criminal history here? And if they say no, and there's a criminal history, that's it. The interview's over, the trust has already been broken, and there's no sense in us talking anymore. Second thing, if they're going to be operating any of our vehicles, we always run an MVR. We want to look at their driving history and make sure that they got a good driving history. I'm going to tell you right now, people with bad driving records will make our insurance go through the ceiling. And we definitely don't want no incidences out there of people operating large trucks with expensive loads on them. So if they got a bad driving record, they're gone. Next thing, guys, that we want to look for, we want to look at large gaps of employment history. Is there a 5-year gap, a 1-year gap, a 10-year gap? And let them explain that gap. There may be legitimate reasons, there may not be. And another thing, guys, that we want to look for is a lot of jobs in a short time frame. 5 jobs in 5 years, 10 jobs in 10 years. We definitely want to do a deep dive into some of that and find out why these jobs weren't working out. Now, the second thing that I look for, guys, in an interview is if they're already employed. And if they are, and they do decide to take a position with that, what's that transaction look like? How are they going to handle that? Because that's a major integrity thing for me. I have got to hear that you are going to give your employer the proper notice that you're going to be leaving your job. At least a 2 weeks notice, because guys, we know how bad that hurts, how much that sucks. When somebody just up and leaves, they don't show up the next day, we are screwed. So we want to make sure, guys, that they have that integrity and that they give the proper notice. Next thing, guys, do not operate out of emotion. All right. Do not just hire somebody because you need them in there and you need them in there quick. Always keep the end result in mind. If you need them to work full time, stick with that. If you need them to have the driver's license, stick with that. Do not sell yourself short. Think of the long term. One of the questions that I always like to ask is, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Where do you see yourself in 10 years? What's your long-term goal? And believe it or not, guys, people have said some really stupid things to me during those questions. You know, things like, hey, I'm just coming here so I can learn the trade and start my own business, or I just need a couple bucks and I'm leaving. Listen, we're not into that. It costs $10,000 plus to train somebody. We are not looking for part-time employees. We are not looking for people to get trained and leave. We want people who want careers. Now, the next thing, guys, is that I always make sure is I never hire anybody on the first interview. This gives me time to go through their references, talk to their previous employers, make sure that this person's a good fit. I also let them know that they will be getting a drug test from Concentra, and we send all of our applicants to Concentra. And I will just throw this out there. I have, and very convincingly, have had people tell me that they have never done a drug in their life, and when the results came back from Concentra, guys, I mean, they were hot for everything. Opiates, cocaine, benzodiazepine, marijuana, just a major laundry list of drugs. And I'm like, wow, I'm happy that I didn't hire that person because there was a dishonesty again. So we want to check their references. It's most likely going to be their friends and relatives, so they're going to say good things. Although I've had people put some really stupid things on their references, and people were like, do not hire that person. I'm warning you right now. And I'm like, why would they put this person down as a reference? But they do, and I'm always amazed by it. Next thing, guys, is I always call up their previous employers. Now, there's laws to this stuff. They can't legally go and bash people on there, about the employer, the previous, or the employee, the previous employee. But I ask them simple questions like this, how did it end? And if you were given another opportunity to employ this individual, would you? And guys, they're business owners just like us. They want to give us a good shake. They want to make sure that we're getting a good employee. And they're usually very honest and open. So guys, if all this stuff matches, all the references are good, the previous employers are good, they are willing to give notice, they pass their urine test, we're ready for the second interview then. And at the second interview, I always bring them in front of my staff because I want my staff to meet them. At the end of the day, guys, you can have all the skill in the world, but if you cannot get along with people, you will be out that door. Because I'm telling you right now, that is the worst thing possible, to have somebody that's highly skilled but unable to get along with other people. They are always out the door. And I want to give you one last tip. And this is always held true for me, guys. If they are bad-mouthing one of their previous employers and just going on a smearing campaign about them and their character and they're this, they're that, they're slave drivers and they screwed them over, I'm not hiring them. Because I just know deep down inside that they will be the one gossiping at the water cooler. They will be the ones talking about this and that needs to change. And they will badmouth you when something goes wrong with them as well. So I hope this helped, guys. Make sure you tune in tomorrow for episode number 12. If you got something out of this, just like it, share it, and please subscribe, guys. See ya.
Yeah, that's what I've been talking about right here. No doubt.
Future Solutions, fencing outdoors. Clip of the day, man. I'm Dave Gotti. I'm your host from the East Coast, man. Burn you with the toast. Let's go.